All right. I realize there's even less light in here than usual. Um, as always, happy Monday. Merry Chatmas. Thank you for joining. I'm going to let people come in as usual for like the first 2 or 3 minutes. So in the meantime, we can just, roll right into this. Just a slow roll. It looks like we're a little short on people today, but that's okay because there's still a lot to talk about in this penultimate episode of Winona Earp. Actually, it's not technically the penultimate episode because there's 2 that are smushed into one for the finale. Hi, Rachel. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be a blast. Everyone's excited. It's Tuesday. No, it's not. It's Monday. Howdy, howdy. This is what there's only a handful of people, and by handful I mean like 2, who are viewing this at 3 a.m. on Tuesday. So you guys are great. Thank you for doing that. So I'm going to preface this chat by saying that at work today, I got out my little yellow legal pad and I read a couple articles recapping this past episode, and I wrote a whole page of notes. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was the best page of notes ever. And then I got home today and realized I left it at the office. So I don't have any notes for this. I'm going to do my best. I kind of remember what I wrote, but I'm going to do my best to guide this chat as well as I can without notes. And I'm sure everyone will have a lot to say. So it'll be fine. It's all fine. It's just a bummer when you leave your notes at the office. Hello, everyone. Getting a couple more people in. Did anyone see the Supergirl promo montage that had Kara holding onto Lena? No, I haven't, and now I have to watch it. I haven't seen Supergirl anything. I haven't watched. This is like tragedy, you guys. I haven't watched the Ava Lance deleted scene yet. Like, who am I? I think I'm like holding off for the potential for it to be a video, but I just haven't gotten around to actually making a video because my life is chaos. So I might watch it and make a video, and I might just watch it and not make a video. Who knows? European fam, holla at your girl, Rachel. She wants to know where you're at. That was fun. Rachel's adding a lot of sarcasm to this chat already. It's fine. I'll take it. It's only 10 seconds, but they still use Supercorp to promote the show, which is kind of annoying since they won't make them canon. Agreed. Okay. I see a question that says, are you reacting to Supergirl and Legends or just Legends? I'm going to leave that a secret for a little while longer. Okay, so it's 3 or so minutes in, and today we're talking about episode 10, right? Yes, episode 10, titled The Other Woman, which, upon reflection of the episode, I don't fully understand why it was called The Other Woman. I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe because it really didn't have anything to do with like Kate, who's now gone apparently. And I was thinking maybe it was because this teenage witch who was like living in the fireplace that got into Nicole was like the other woman, but it was weird and I didn't understand it. So anyway, it was called The Other Woman. We're going right into the theories. Let's go. Let's move straight into the theories and then we'll briefly recap the episode. We think that Charlie is Julian. Well, Charlie is dead now. So what happens? That's why Maeve didn't jump into his dead body. Oh, dead in quotes. Okay. All right. I'm on board with that. That actually makes a lot of sense. Also, without Peacemaker, Winona can't bring him into the triangle. I'm confused. Charlie... Was Charlie not already in the triangle, though? Charlie or Julian. I need more evidence. I think the witch went into Doc, and that's why he killed Charlie. Let's talk about that, because I didn't put that together. If you guys haven't been reading the Den of Geek Wynonna Earp review / recaps, they're really, really good. And they're really good at really picking out things that I missed from the episode. So in that article, in that recap, the writer explained that, like, that was something, I guess, that we missed, that, like, that weird creepy smile that Doc did after Nicole sent him away was like, oh, that was Maeve took over his body and was like, and made him kill Charlie, which I'm fully on board with, because I didn't want it to be just him and his bloodlust. But yes, I think that that's accurate, and I think that we should all take that as fact, because I don't want Doc to be completely culpable for Charlie's death, because that was pretty messed up. Oh, okay. Wynonna thought that she was the woman, but it turns out that Waverly is the woman. I'll take it. That makes sense to me. I think Mama Earp finds Julian and brings him back, and then Waves doesn't have to be sacrificed. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. If Julian is outside the triangle, then Wynonna can't bring him in without Peacemaker, which means he has to already be inside the triangle. Okay, makes sense. Is the witch meant to be a kid? Were we told her age? I think it was supposed to be like a teenager. I didn't realize the witch going into Doc was a theory. I thought that was just what happened. Well, that's just because you're smart, and I wasn't paying attention well enough, clearly, because I didn't realize at all. Surely Emily didn't make him that malicious that quickly without showing us why. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely what we were meant to understand, but I totally thought that Doc just, like, did a creepy smile for no reason. Maeve the Teenage Witch. She should have her own show with a black cat named Salem. First thing I thought of was that if Waverly dies, we have to watch Nicole's reaction, which will be impossible to handle. Okay. On that note, I want to start talking about the episode itself. Let's start from the top. Let's start from the biggest thing that we found out, which is that Waverly is the champion and also has to die to stop Balshar. I guess before we get into that, let's talk about Wynonna and Waverly in this episode. They go off together to find the arm, Balshar's arm, at the bequest of Anna Silk's character, Kevin, who told them they need the arm to defeat Balshar. It's a weapon. Okay, great. So they go off and they find a revenant who has this weird ogre, bad prosthetic arm that looks very much like the 90s practical effects that they used to do makeup and shit. So they found the guy, and it was really nice to see Wynonna and Waverly off doing their thing together again. We've had a lot of odd couple pairings in the past couple of episodes. You know, people who don't normally spend a lot of time together doing missions together and all that. But it was really nice to see Wynonna and Waverly together again, taking care of business. That's number one. Number two is this whole bomb that was dropped that Waverly has to die. So let's talk about it, because I personally don't think she's going to. I have a lot of faith in Emily's good sense to not do that. I don't think that would be very smart of her to do. And B, I think that there's still enough, there's always loopholes in Wynonna Earp, and there's still enough leverage on, like, other people taking her place for that to not happen, not for her not to die. So I don't know that. I think Rachel says, I don't want Julian to die. We haven't even met him yet. We don't even know him at all. I don't want him to die either. I don't want anyone to die. But, you know, if somebody had to, I would rather it be Julian instead of Waverly. 1 mile per hour revenant chase. I lost my mind at that scene. It was so funny watching Winona, who was like hurt by the radioactive arm, like wobbling down the street with Waverly, with the guy like visibly behind them going very slow. Very, very funny. Best chase scene ever. Okay, so we're talking about Waverly dying. Got to keep my mind on track here. Waverly not dying, I should say. This is a good quote. And I'm fairly certain if you weren't such a douchebag, we could hang. People say that to me all the time. I'm just kidding. They don't. She won't die permanently, but it may be a cliffhanger till next season. I would really hate that. I'm not going to lie. I'd be so upset. Like, obviously, all of us would be upset. But I just don't want her to die in any capacity. And honestly, that's opening a huge can of worms, whether she comes back to life or not, because queer characters dying is like something that you cannot do anymore for any reason whatsoever. Not that I'm saying you should be able to, but it's just like, it's become a thing that like automatically just like, no matter the context, no matter if they come back to life or not, no matter if it was false, you know, it's just, you can't really like make that a thing if you don't want to damage your show kind of permanently. I don't know. I wonder if anyone agrees with me about that. Is Robin going to become a tree, or is that storyline going to be dropped? He was super weird in this episode. Him and Bobo were both very weird in this episode, but I liked their moment of bonding over the weird jazz music that didn't sound anything like jazz. I think it's likely that that storyline is going to be dropped, because if we haven't seen him already turn into a tree, then I don't know, but possibly. It's a 2-hour finale, so a lot can happen. If you got something to say about Julian, you can say it to my face. Am I not? I don't know how I could say it to your face unless we Skype, which we, you know, haven't done yet. What if this season ends with Waverly turning to stone and then there's a time jump before next season and they bring her back? I would rather her... Okay, so here's the thing. In the context of like Waverly dying and Waverly being a queer character, turning to stone does not necessarily qualify as death. So in that sense, I could see potentially maybe Emily Andress folding for the sake of it being really shocking, because I don't know if she would fall into the trap of like killing a queer character if Waverly turned to stone, because I don't necessarily qualify that as death if they bring her back after that. But if it's like debated whether or not they even could bring her back, that's kind of not fun. That's not fun for us. I think she's going to turn to stone for the cliffhanger next season where we get her back. I don't know what I want to happen. I don't know if I want that. I think I would rather see Julian. I think that would be great angst and a great cliffhanger if they do indeed bring her back, like in the premiere of the next season. But I don't really want that to like be weighing on my conscious mind for that long before season 4. So the whole cast is safe then, right? That's what I was saying in like one of the last reactions I did, is that like most, or maybe it was in the last EarpChat, is that like a lot of the cast or a lot of the characters in this ensemble are queer characters. So like, yeah, let's just save them all. Why not? Everyone stays alive. That's what I want. Also agree that with trying to save Waverly season 4, Emily likes to keep us all guessing. That she does. She's wily, that one. If they do the stone thing and bring her back, Winona Earp should just change his name to Winona the Vampire Slayer. I thought that very same thing. And also that article that I read heavily compared this whole like sacrificing the sister thing to Buffy, which yes, it's absolutely. And someone, either the article or someone on Twitter mentioned that they wouldn't be surprised if like Waverly's about to sacrifice herself and Winona takes her place, and then they bring Winona back to life, a la Buffy the Vampire Slayer. which I don't know. That didn't work out so well for them in Buffy, bringing her back from the dead. So maybe don't do that. Maybe we just have everyone stay alive. 100% agree. So many shows are walking on eggshells right now, afraid of backlash. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like good that they're hearing what we have to say. And I'm not at all saying that I want to see queer characters die, because I don't at all. But I think that people are getting really comfortable being able, and this is in general, not just when it comes to queer characters, because I think that this is like the right, we shouldn't, kill queer characters just for the heck of it. But I think people are getting very comfortable knowing that they have a lot of influence over showrunners in general. And it's starting to kind of like almost censor like the show's creative freedom, because I think anyone could find something wrong with like a decision that someone decides to make on a show. And I think people have enough power in numbers to like really heavily influence what showrunners do now. And it's like not always a good thing. But I don't know. I sure as heck don't want her to turn to stone, but it might happen. That's a mood. I feel that. That was an interesting quote that I raised my eyebrows at. Doc was Wyatt's boyfriend. I think she was saying that as like a joke, the witch person, but a lot of people have wondered, and I myself have wondered about that. Yeah, we're talking about Maeve again, and how she definitely possessed Doc after killing Charlie. But okay, so we talked about Winona and Waverly. We talked a little bit about like the weird not relationship that this situation has to Buffy, but kind of in a way like how it's giving off an air of being kind of like that finale of Buffy. Basically, if anyone hasn't watched Buffy, it's like Buffy's sister was gonna die, and then Buffy takes her place, and then they bring her back to life in the premiere of the next season. So I thought was interesting, and something fun to talk about is the fact that Winona is always the one who's used to being, she's, the heir, and she's the important player in all of this. And she's used to being the one that makes the sacrifices. And now the roles have kind of been reversed with her and Waverly, which I thought was really interesting, because Winona is much more cynical than Waverly. Waverly still very like believes in the goodness of the world and of people. And Winona's not really like that. So when you have these, like, this is all in this Den of Geek article that I'm not plagiarizing, I'm just citing it right now. This is where I'm getting this idea from. Basically the idea of this like champion person sacrificing everything for other people. Yeah, the person who's doing the sacrificing is usually kind of worn down and cynical, and doesn't really like believe in hope or whatever anymore, because they've just been like battered their entire lives. But like to kind of flip that and put it on Waverly, who's still this like innocent, like believes in the good of people person, is really interesting. And also that much more sad that she has to be the one to die, as opposed to like, it wouldn't have been any really like less sad if it was Winona, but somehow it kind of is, because Waverly's just like that much more innocent. The loss of innocence, a theme. And now I'm pausing because I lost my train of thought, but I'm also reading comments. It was interesting to see that Bolshar was the snake in the garden. Good way to go deeper into the biblical storyline. Yeah, I actually thought that was really cool. I really like, for someone who grew up in that environment where like the Bible was important. And it was interesting to see that kind of turn into more fiction. Maeve couldn't stay in Jeremy because he had that crash, so now feels fierce is not technically pure human. Yeah, I kind of wondered what she meant by that. I think that there's probably more there than just the fact that he's like an empath. I'm going to call him that because that's basically what he is. If anyone hasn't watched Buffy, why are you watching Winona? I have questions. I wish I was more... Rachel says, I wish I was more interested in Jeremy being non-human. Well, I am interested. Somewhat. I'm more interested in like every single other character, but Jeremy is still my child and I will protect him at all costs. Confused. The Guardians were supposed to keep Bulshar in the garden but failed, and now Bulshar wants back in. That's a good question. That's a good question. I didn't even think about that until you brought it up, but very good question, Grace. I would also like to know. Buffy was a long time ago. Yeah. I didn't watch Buffy until I was 20. So like 4 years ago. Which, you know, was when I was in college, which is like long after it stopped airing. Because I thought it would be fun. Rachel says, it's a very long question, but I also agree with it. She says, am I super dumb for not understanding the consequences of Waverly not sacrificing herself? I understand that people will die if not, but why and how do we know Bulshar's plans? I don't know at all. I don't know why he wants to get into the garden after he's gotten out, essentially. I don't know what is going to happen. Like, how are people going to die if Waverly doesn't do something, you know? So far, all he's done is terrorize the Earps. I feel like no one really else has fallen victim, except for a couple people getting turned into trees and like the original families of Purgatory. But like, did the same rules apply to him that he can't leave the Ghost River Triangle? And I've heard different stories. I've heard that the Garden of Eden is in the Ghost River Triangle, and I've also heard that the Garden of Eden is the Ghost River Triangle. So those are two very different things. If the Garden of Eden is the Ghost River Triangle, it seems like he's trying to get out, and he hasn't gotten out yet. Or is the garden in Purgatory / the Ghost River Triangle, and he's trying to get into it? Because they said like he found it, so clearly he's not in it now. So I think it's more that it's a place in Purgatory. Oh my god, this is aggressive and my brain hurts. Okay, how exactly does Bulshar getting into paradise destroy the world? I don't know. I want to learn. I don't know why. I don't know what it means. Somebody pointed out that Waverly has been in way this whole season. Angel status. Hashtag angel status. Yeah, I feel like this is a quote from Rachel. I feel like I'd feel more torn about Waverly's decision, etc., if I knew what's at stake. Yeah, I agree. We could talk about this probably all night, but bottom line is that I know nothing, and that I'm just still confused as to what the like rules and stakes actually are. So I can't really speculate much on the finale, considering I don't know much. I think that we're going to learn a lot in the first hour of the finale, and then we'll have more information going into the second hour, so that we can actually kind of like finally be like, okay, now I know what the stakes are and what the rules are for this thing that's happening. The garden is at the top of the stairs. That's what I thought. So I may or may not be right on that. Maybe he was in prison when he was in the garden and escaped, but now wants back in because the fruit of one of the trees will give him some sort of power. That makes a whole lot of sense. And I hope that, you know, whatever ends up actually being the reveal of this whole season makes as much sense as that does. Nicole and Kat's possession scene was ace. Yes, I agree. Moving on from we don't have to move on from Winona and Waverly and the sacrificing and all that. But a couple other points that we haven't touched on yet was how marvelous Kat's performance was in that episode. It blew my mind. Like, they haven't really given her full reign to like do something like that before. And her acting generally is really good, but that was like really fun. And then also on the contrast of that is like her scene with Doc at the end after he kills Charlie, telling him that if he ever came back, she would kill him. And that was like one of the most powerful like scenes that I've seen Kat do in the show so far, I think. So there was like 2 really good examples of her acting capabilities. Reading comments again. I think that it was Doc that took Mercedes, and the next time we see her, she'll be Maeve Mercedes. Oh, I would love that. Oh my God. Danny Kind could pull that shit off real well. I think that that should be a thing. I've heard a couple people say that they think, so they think Balshar took Mercedes, or they think that Doc took Mercedes, or they think that Julian took Mercedes, I've heard as well. And that it was Julian and Michelle had found Julian. I don't know. It was a gloved hand. So anyone could wear a glove. We know as much as Nicole knows, which is absolutely nothing. That's a mood. That's actually true. Nicole never knows anything because nobody ever tells her anything, even though she's like literally the only one that's certified to use a gun and is in law enforcement. That's all I have to say. Why can't Winona see the stairs? I think we talked about this like 2 EarpChats ago or something, but it was really weird that she was like the only one that couldn't see them. Even like there were Jeremy and Robin couldn't, you know, they had photos of nothing, but they saw them while they were there. They saw the stairs, but she was the only one that either didn't remember that she saw them or didn't see them or couldn't see them. But Waverly saw them, I believe, and Nicole did as well. Everyone can see them, but Winona. That's weird. We think that Kevin took Mercedes. Let's talk about Anna Silk as Kevin. How about? Because we haven't yet. I remember at the beginning of the season, like before the season had aired, I think it was revealed, like they said that Anna was going to be in the show. And I remember the press release said that she was going to be playing a character named Kevin, and everyone got super excited because they thought that she was going to be playing a trans character, which again, just cast a trans person, please. But I digress. Like, was that the intention? I didn't really see that as the intention of that character, but maybe I missed like some line or something in there that was like, yeah, this is the intention of the character, that this is like a male ghost who is appearing to these people as like a female form. I don't know. I don't really know what the intention of that was, but she was great. She's really like, she played that character like, I think that they took every character, every person from Lost Girl and put them in the best possible character for their like acting abilities, which is really cool. And obviously Emily was familiar with what each person did well, so thought it was really well cast for the 3 of those characters. Rachel says, I'm going to learn from my attachment to Willa, which I didn't even know you had, which is interesting. Never really had a fondness for Willa, but that's something we can talk about offline. And the devastation over her death, and say that Julian will probably die in the finale. I hated that Willa died because of the way that it affected Winona and Waverly, but I personally had no attachment to her. I thought she was not a good person. If the club doesn't fit, you must acquit. What the hell is that from? Sherlock Holmes? Oh my God. Was it not a gloved hand? I'm pretty sure it was a gloved hand. Winona can't see the stairs because she hasn't slept with Mercedes yet. That's hilarious. It was a dark sleeved arm. Okay. For some reason, I thought there was a glove. That neck chop, though, that was just like straight up karate chop to the throat. It was amazing. I love Anna Silk and Kevin was fantastic, but what is this random group of world savers that she's a part of? Again, so very Buffy that I almost like had to pause the episode and I was gonna just reel in my head about like all the Buffiness of it. It was like the council, right? And it was like these like all powerful beings, the council who like send the protectors, the guardians, and just like, oh my God, so Buffy, which is fine. I mean, it's an ode to Buffy is never a bad thing because it's one of the best shows ever made. And you can fight me on that one. How did Anna Silk make a hazmat suit? How did Anna Silk make taking a hazmat suit off look good? I think she could take anything off and it would look good, if you know what I mean. Kevin seemed genderless. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like, the character was so much more than like a stand-in for like a genderless non-binary character, so that kind of was more focused on like their role in the episode being this, you know, part of this weird world savers group. I thought they probably could have made it a little bit more obvious that that character was supposed to be like a genderless, more like non-binary character, but I mean, they had a lot to do. Came out of the cave with the hazmat thing on and had to instruct Winona and Waverly to go get the arm. I was thinking about that too. I think Emily said at Lexicon there would be a trans character. If it was Kevin, I missed the reveal. Yeah, I don't know if that was what the intention of that character was. I think there's going to be a different trans character. Hopefully. I mean, that'd be awesome. O.J. Simpson trial. Fuck. I am like culturally inept. I think I've said this before. I'm really good and I know a lot about like a handful of things and then like, but I'm not a master of all things. Like I'm a specialist, not a generalist, if that makes sense. So there's like so many things about history and like culture that I don't know about because I focus all my attention on like a handful of things. Sherlock Holmes, I'm crying. Me too, because I feel embarrassed that I didn't know that was the O.J. Simpson trial about the glove. Now it just, you know, I knew that it was the glove thing. Just couldn't put my finger to what the quote was from. Oh, I'm embarrassed now. All right, moving on. I'm trying to think of what else I had in my notes that I didn't bring home with me. I think it was pretty much just like Winona and Waverly and how their roles are kind of reversing and then what that means for Winona and what that means for Waverly and if it's going to happen. And then we talked about the teenage witch, random character who got introduced and how great Kat Burrell's acting was. Charlie died, covered that base. Julian and Michelle are still nowhere to be found, but I think they're going to be coming back in the next episode. What the hell else did I write down? Anna Silk's character. She was great. Anna Silk, not a character. Don't want to define her character by a gender now because I believe that they were a genderless character. What else? I don't know what else. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to read comments now for the remainder since we're already sort of over time. Next week, I'll have my shit together, I promise. I won't leave my notes at the office. If you wanted to say something bad about Willa, say it to my face. Again, you can see my face. I just can't see your face. I think Kevin was kind of like Altered Carbon. It's just a sleeve. I've never seen Altered Carbon. Is it good? Should I watch it? Also, Emily got asked at Lexicon if she would include a trans character, and I thought she said if the story was right, she would, etc., but it's not this season. Yeah, I remember that vaguely. What day was that? Because I was hungover most of those days, and I can't remember much of what happened at Lexicon, which is why I took a bunch of videos and made vlogs about it. Because I was massively deprived also. Waverly needs to heal Winona's radiation damaged hand. Yeah, whatever happened? Was she okay? It looked like it really hurt. Mel needs to stop making me cry. Guys, that scene at the end with the two of them, they're like, being an actor must be really difficult because crying on cue is really hard. But like Melanie can just so many tears. There was just dripping from her face. And I, in my heart, I was crying, not visibly, because I just couldn't deal. That was a really great scene between the two of them at the end. Just like, oh, and the line, my favorite line from the episode was like, "You're the only thing that keeps me going." Like, oh, stab me in the fucking face. I can't do it. Oh my God. They're so perfect. I love them. Okay. Peacemaker was a sword. The sword around the Tree of Life. Balshar is after the fruit from the Tree of Life. Oh my God. We're in so deep. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I think that Peacemaker and the ring, I think I'm going to call like they were made from like the same metal. They were made from the metal that was harvested from the garden. Just because I want to have a theory going into the finale, because I don't know anything. I want Winona to pull a Charmed now that Willa has kicked the bucket. Bring in a younger sister. I've never seen Charmed. What was the sword that? Oh, good point. That flashback that like I was like, I don't care about this, but it was actually probably pretty important because there was the book. Also, whatever happened to the book, we didn't talk about the book. The Maeve's book, aka Juan Carlos' book, and he had like a dagger / sword thing. Maybe they melted that down. Maybe that was like a magic sword and they melted it down to make Peacemaker. But he already had Peacemaker at that point, did he not? Wyatt already had Peacemaker. Bye that plan. They melted it down to make the ring though. Calling it now. Calling it. Okay, we're really over time this time. So thank you guys again for joining. Good night, everyone who, like, seriously, go to bed. You're incredible for being here, but I just don't know how you guys get up at 3 a.m. to be here. But thank you for being here. Thanks, everybody, for coming again. This is our second to last EarpChat. So next week, I think I'm going to extend EarpChat to be like closer to 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what there is to talk about and how much happens, because obviously there's 2 episodes happening next week instead of 1. So I think we're going to extend this just a little bit just so we have more time to talk and just kind of wrap things up. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue these for Supergirl and Legends. Kind of just depends on what I decide to do. But again, thanks for being here. And I'm very excited to watch the finale next week. And I'll see you guys after 2 episodes of a finale. So, later days.